Me and my sisters have a tradition that every Christmas we do a drawing and buy one gift for the person that we draw, and everybody else gets handmade gifts. This saves us a buck. It started because it saved our parents a lot of bucks. This year I'm making journals. Not technically making the journals, I'm decorating journals. These are the bases that I got. So let's start.
When we turned 5, Mother gave each of us a copy of her favorite story.
The Dancing Princess.
Alright, we're starting with the 12 Dancing Princesses storybook for sister number 2. I know we're going out of order here, but we do what we can. She loves Barbie, so this is perfect for her. We all grew up watching Barbie all the time, but she particularly has a special love for it in her heart. You'll notice that this base journal has rounded corners, which is really inconvenient because the storybook has specifically sharp corners. And I do this thing with projects where I am lazy in the beginning and then I put so many hours into it by the end that I regret having taken the easy way out in the beginning. So I did decide that I would make the corners sharp. So that started with taking that contact paper off and stripping the leather down so that I could cut the actual pages and the cover. It was kind of just learn as you go. Christmas always is for us. We always pick up new hobbies, new crafts, things we've never done before to gift each other. It's a great excuse to do those things. But this was very tedious. I cut all of the pages by hand. I wanted to go out and use the bandsaw, but I was too lazy because it's all covered up for the winter. So I just used a craft knife and cut over and over and over and over and over until I had gone through all the pages and then sanded them to make them a little bit nicer. They didn't end up pristine. I really should have gone out and used the bandsaw. That's one of those lazy in the beginning moments that I regret later, but it's okay. With the cardboard and pages down to size, I went ahead and cut the leather with the right margin in order for it to wrap around nicely on the edge, which at this point my knife was dull, so it was very hard. I did have to replace the blade after going through all those pages. You can really see that I'm struggling to get through the material, but I did. I finished it up. The edges I got looking decent, and then I went ahead and glued them down. I did have trouble here because I realized that my little binder clips were leaving little indents in the leather, which was very annoying. I had to figure out workarounds for that later. But it's okay. I tucked all the edges, and before you know it, my journal base that was the wrong shape was a journal base that was the right shape, and it only took a few hours. But the next step was to draw everything onto it, which I went ahead and did. Yep. Then with my brand new knife blade, I went ahead and cut all of those lines out so that I would be able to tool them into the leather. I didn't actually have the right tools for that because this is my first time doing anything like this. I was deciding whether I liked it or not. I do like it, so I will be getting the proper supplies, but for now, I used a flathead screwdriver. And like a couple different things to run across it and just put pressure in to score the leather. Next was painting. I did use acrylic. I found that on journals that I've used it on before, it kind of buffs out after a while into a really nice finish. So I figured that it would be good. All the colors here that I wanted to use were super duper light, and there were a bunch of ombres too that I had to do a couple revisions on in order to get it to look how I wanted, but it was nice. I kind of made up the back. I didn't want it to be just plain. I think you just see a glance of it in the movie, so I just gave it a little ombre to give it something. And then I had to go around and do all the detail work on this rose, which I didn't record because I ended up taking it to the couch and working on it sitting, which is like weird, I know. But I was watching, I think, Stranger Things. I was rewatching it. I was binging it. So it was just more cozy, and I trust myself with paint. It was fine. I used Posca markers to do the gold details and then to bring the white back out on the rose for the outline. And then I went ahead and glued down the front and back pages in order to just clean up the way that the leather wrapped, and then also that big, ugly cardboard mark that I accidentally made. When you're gluing thin stuff, like just a page of paper onto the cardboard cover, I always spread it out with my finger It just makes it a little bit more even, a little bit nicer, because you can always like see the glue tracks if you leave it unspread. Then I decided last minute to throw these ribbons in just as little page finders because I did cut the originals out. So I just shoved that in there with some super glue and we'll wait for that to dry.
What's that on your cheek?
Ink, my lord. I keep a journal where I record all that I learn.
The second book is Brea's journal from The Dark Crystal. Sister number 3 loves The Dark Crystal. It's like one of her favorite pieces of media. And she was really sad. We were all really sad when the show didn't get a second season. This is from that show. I found this perfect base. It's a watercolor notebook, which is great. She's an artist. Sister number 2's was a bullet journal, which is great for the way that she writes notes. But this is a watercolor notebook. It's really nice. The paper's thick and good, and it suits the vibe of how this is going to turn out. I was really happy with that. I similarly had to take the leather off. This time I fully degloved it from the cardboard that it had been a part of. Again, I decided that I wanted to make the shape of the book just right, so I had to cut through all of the layers on all of the corners. But this time I knew that I wanted to save that, so I saved that instead of cutting straight into it. But yes, this was tedious and it dulled another blade, so enjoy. I kind of breezed over this in the last one, but my next step was sanding it. It didn't make a huge difference visually, but texturally it helped make it a lot more uniform. It was a lot nicer after I stuck it in the jig and sanded it than it was before, so I took that as a win. The slightly rickety jagged edges, though, are also something that contributes to the overall vibe of this. You'll see at the end. I went ahead and stuck the end markers back on, just like how they were glued before. I don't really know how helpful they are, like what they do, so whatever. I pulled the cardboard fully out of the leather. It's not really leather, it's fakey, but I pulled it out regardless and matched the rounded corners as best as I could. Having this cardboard match both the page sizes, and then it matched exactly, because it is the interior of the cover, it matches exactly what the cover is going to be. I got to use it as a template for this design, which was really hard to figure out. I didn't have very good reference pictures. It's not in the show a ton, so I had to interpret some pixels pretty intensely. I had to do some warping on pictures to try and figure out what it would look like head on. But having that extra material in order to make the template in the right size really helped me figure out how to balance it. I went ahead and started embroidering. I thought that it would be a breeze. It was not a breeze. I embroider patches all the time, so I'm really used to just using a satin stitch and filling up large areas super quickly. But between not doing the satin stitch, not having a hoop, and sewing through a weird material, this took me ages. I try really hard to distribute the time that I spend on gifts evenly between the sisters, but this one really tipped the scales, taking a lot longer than I thought it would. I was actually finishing it on Christmas Eve. That's how far behind I was. I did a little bit of beading, just enough to be cute, and then the twine detailing was great. I went ahead and threw glue onto the thread to lock it all down in place, and went ahead and put the cover back together. I had to trim it down to size, and then I stuck the pages back in. In the end, I felt alright about how much more time I spent on her gift, because last year she gifted me these, which she drafted from scratch. Like, she made the patterns herself. They're from a video game and I love them. They're so cute. Gluing down the front and back page to the ugly cardboard was my last step, so let's move on.
This is a journal I found in the woods. It talks about all the crazy stuff that goes on in Gravity Falls.
Journal number 3 is for sister number 1. She really likes Gravity Falls. She got all of us to watch it. It was really fun. I got this base. It was already pretty good. I chose it because it was black, which is ideal because through the velvet of the cover of journal number 3, you can see scratches and tears, and it reveals the black book underneath. So this is the one that I got. It's a good size. It feels pretty hefty. The only problem is that with the locations of the tears, you'd be able to see the gold lettering. So I went ahead and did a test spot to see if it would come off, and it did come right off. The acetone left a kind of funny texture on the black. You can't really see it, but the black is this weird satiny finish. But I liked it. It felt old, so I went ahead and covered all of the spots that would be visible with a little bit of acetone just to give it the same look so that it would be uniform and it would all have the little kind of older feeling. Next, I went ahead and found some crushed velvet so that I could cut it into the right shape to be the cover of this book. I did some measuring. It was actually kind of hard to find the darker color because all of the red crushed velvet that I found was really bright, and that just didn't suit the vibe. I used a paper template in order to figure out the positioning for those little gashes that I was drawing into it, and then again spread the glue with my finger in order to get it a really even and nice stick. My little binder clips ended up also causing me trouble here. The glue would seep through a little bit more than it would anywhere else because there was more pressure there, but I did get those marks out thankfully in the end. I went ahead and cut out the metal detailing from a Arizona iced tea can, which I self-sacrificingly drank because it was the biggest can that I could find. I'm not a tea person. But it was really hard to cut through this stupid can, probably because my blade was dull from, again, cutting through all of those pages. But I did it in the end. As soon as it was out of the can shape, it became way easier because it's super thin metal. Again, with the paper templates, it just helped me get stuff to the right scale. It's just drawn onto a piece of paper with pencil so that I could adjust it as I went. The sandpaper makes an appearance for this journal as well because I didn't want these edges to be cutting me while I was working them or cutting my sister while she was using the book. So I went ahead and sanded all of the edges down and then used a safety pin in order to engrave the 3 into the palm of this hand. You can see I did cut myself that band-aid. Whoops. And then I discovered that actually there was better, thicker metal on my kitchen counter. So I recut everything out. I went ahead and punched holes for, they're rivets on the book technically, but I just used brads because that's what I had on hand. And they turned out looking pretty good. I bent everything into shape. It was great. I did spray paint all of it gold, and that will rub off with time, but I think that will add to the wear and tear look of the book, honestly. Then I threw glue on just Elmer's whatever for like most of it, and then super glue at the tips to really stick it on down there. I got the positioning just right with that same paper template that I cut the hand out of originally. And then because of those brads sticking up on the corners, I couldn't just put heavy books over. I had to put something as a spacer. So I went and found that chunk of wood to use as a spacer in order to put weight on. Then I just had to touch up some of these corners that weren't quite being held down because it wasn't wrapped around. It's just sitting there on these edges next to the spine. I clamped those down, and then also the little gold details on the spine I went ahead and threw on at the same time as well. The last thing to add was the little tassel, which I did have to make a craft store run for. And then this is the point where I finally found a reference picture of the back, so I added on the symbols even though the tears are in the wrong spot. But I just did it with glue so that they would be textured and kind of fun. With that, all of them got wrapped in the closest wrapping paper to me and stuck under the tree alongside my brother's bought gift. You might be wondering what that is. It's pretty sick. And that was Christmas.